Okay, let's move on to another thing. Speaking of hypocrisy, chaos, and all of that, the city of San Francisco has some of the most stringent lockdown procedure, vaccine mandates in restaurants, as well as mask mandates. Now, that has been a matter of consternation for a lot of people who live in that great city. And recently, their mayor, London Breed, was seen in a bar partying, maskless, actually with a Black Lives Matter founder, but that doesn't, that's kind of beside the point. Now, when she was pressed on whether what she was doing was hypocritical, she delivered one of the most ridiculous defenses that we have yet seen. We put together an entire mashup of this long 6.5-minute answer that she gave. Let's take a listen.
While I'm eating and I'm drinking, I'm going to keep my mask off. And yes, in the end time, while we're drinking, like everyone else there, we were all having a good time. And again, all vaccinated. So the fact that this is even a story is sad. The message I want to get out is support our nightlife venues, support our restaurants, go out and enjoy yourself. Make sure you are vaccinated because of the requirements, but don't feel as though you have to be micromanaged about mask wearing. Like, we don't need the fun police to come in and try and micromanage and tell us what we should or shouldn't be doing. We know what we need to do to protect ourselves. And Dwayne Wiggins are, but I don't know about you, but if you know who they are, I don't care where you're sitting. You're going to get up and start dancing. My drink was sitting at the table. I got up and started dancing because I was feeling the spirit. And I wasn't thinking about a mask. I was thinking about having a good time. And in the process, I was following the health order.
She was feeling the spirit. We can't be the fun police. Here's the thing. I agree, Madam Mayor. Here's the problem. Your constituents not allowed to feel the spirit in the same way.
You are the fun police.
You are the fun police. And just so people realize what was going on here, we have a video. So let's put this up there. I'll speak over it. There is the mayor all the way back there in this crowd of unmasked people at this bar, all in close quarters. They're having a great time, not a mask in sight. She's dancing. She's putting her hands up there. If you're just listening, I highly recommend that you go on YouTube and you just come and watch this segment because you have to see how ridiculous it all is. And once again, here's the thing, Krystal. I support every person in San Francisco having the ability to do exactly this. There is no reason they shouldn't be allowed to. But the mayor's own guidelines say that vaccination status does not matter, that you do have to wear masks in the proximity of people indoors. So which is it? And it just happens so often. Gavin Newsom's French Laundry. I mean, the Austin mayor, Steve Adler, who was like, do not relax. Now is not the time for the city of Austin. Do not travel while he's in where was he? He was in Mexico somewhere, like Cozumel or Cancun. And you could literally see like the ornate hotel in the background of the video. There was like the Denver mayor who went and left the city during Thanksgiving, even though he's like, do not travel during Thanksgiving. It just happens over and over again. It's like they have one set of rules for everybody else, and then they live differently. And all many people are asking is to just simply live under the same guidelines that clearly is governing these elite structures.
So I think it's important to separate a couple of things out. First of all, overall, mask mandates in businesses and even, like the vaccine or test requirements that Biden put into place are really popular. Fox News just did a poll that found, 67% support mandating students and teachers wear masks, 66% say businesses should require masks of employees and customers. So the issue isn't as much, especially in a city like San Francisco. I'm sure mask and vaccine requirements are extraordinarily popular. But what we saw with Gavin Newsom is that what people despise is the hypocrisy. And that's really, really understandable because that gets to this sense that you think you don't have to play by the rules. You think the rest of us do, but that you're somehow exempt. Somehow magically the virus doesn't matter when it comes to you. And so I think that hypocrisy is what people across the political spectrum, no matter what you think about masks and vaccine mandates and all of this, absolutely recoil from. It's interesting because she does make a very effective case here for if you have vaccine mandates, then yeah, what are you so worried about? People should be able to go and have fun and be maskless and party and drink and celebrate and all of those things. Like, no big deal. And so, you know, and if you don't have the vaccine mandates, then probably the mask mandates indoors make more sense. But to have both, she makes the case, I think, quite effectively, is a little unnecessary and a little bit over the top.
Yep.
So yeah, you don't need the fun police, but you kind of are the fun police. And so if you're gonna put those restrictions into place, you need to be the one first and foremost following it. I guess Muriel Bowser, that was another example.
Muriel Bowser,
here,
Pelosi in the salon, I also forgot about that.
Here in our own home city, that also got caught at a wedding, maskless at the table, et cetera, et cetera. And look, again, if you believe in these restrictions and you think they're necessary to keep people safe, you gotta be the one leading the charge and setting the example for everybody else. That's like the basic definition of being a leader.
100%. And you know, it just continues to cascade. Let's put this up there. From the Emmys, a lot of people pointed out that people at the Emmys, a lot of these celebrities were not masked. The LA County Department of Public Health says, look, they're not in violation because there's an exception for film, TV, and music production, and there are, quote, additional safety modifications. That's not true. There were no additional safety modifications. And to the extent that they mean that, they mean what Glenn Greenwald has consistently pointed to, the servant class on the sidelines and the people who are operating the cameras and elsewhere who are all required to wear masks while everybody's partying up at the Emmys. It's just, and look, I know elite hypocrisy, you can give a million stories, but it's a very ugly and terrible image. People were pointing to the same thing at the Met Gala. Take AOC side out of it, because it's not even about her. All the other rich financiers and all those people, you know, with their masked servants serving them food and elsewhere, it's just a dramatically stark vision of like restrictions apply to these people, restrictions don't apply to everybody else.
Well, and even take it down to a more sort of like day-to-day life situation. And this is something we've talked about a lot, is the way that there's a class of people who are meant to be served and a class of people who are meant to do the serving. And, you know, if you go in a store in Virginia right now, Virginia doesn't have indoor mask mandates. And so you're very likely to see all the cashiers, all the service workers, all the people who are stocking the shelves, cleaning the floors, they're all required by their companies to wear masks. Is it because they're worried about their safety and protection?
No. Right.
It's because they want to make the customers feel comfortable, the ones who are meant to be served, not to be the servers, who can, you know, feel free to shop and make whatever choices are suitable to them. It just, once again, illustrates the true divide in this country between the people who are really treated like human beings, who are capable of making choices in a situation where you're in a bar or restaurant or at an awards event or whatever, who are trusted to be able to make their own choices about what safety looks like, and those who have to be mandated, who have to be forced, who have to be rendered essentially like invisible and anonymous by these masks, not again for the protection of themselves, but for the protection of the people who actually matter, and that is extremely gross.
Yeah, you know, every time I go out to eat, it just absolutely kills me because the waiters and the chefs, you can actually, I went to a restaurant recently with an open kind of kitchen environment. These chefs are all just sweating. I mean, just covered in sweat in this hot environment. I mean, anybody who's read like Kitchen Confidential or whatever knows just how difficult it is to even work in a kitchen in the first place, and they're all wearing masks. Every diner in the place, people are drinking, having a good time, and the waiter, you know, has to like try and come really close to try and tell you because you can't hear anything. I just, you know, I find the whole thing, it's always made me uncomfortable, but, you know, especially at this level, as you point to, they don't have a choice. Everybody else, you get to sit down, you get to have a good time, and that really does stick with me. I don't think it's right.
Yeah, I agree with you. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching.
That's right. Just as a reminder, you can become a premium subscriber today. Watch the full show completely uncut, our reactions to each other's monologues. You get to listen to it. You get to ask us questions, all that good stuff. Link is right there in the description or at breakingpoints.com.
Best of all, great way to say screw you to the mainstream media.